Sweet. All right. So we've obviously got news again today, which is going to make it quite tricky. It is at the end of our first hour, so we can play around with like the first little bit of London Open, but just need to err on the side of caution with it. In terms of where AU is at, so we're reacting out of a really, really good demand, more or less the extreme of that whole leg there. Very condensed and very quite sideways leg or just slow pushes to the upside, but it is a really good demand, and obviously. We've had a beautiful reaction out of that point there. So right now, just looking to continue following with that bullish momentum as we can. We do have a quite nice supply sitting up here. I don't think it's going to hold long term, but it's definitely has enough strength being a big demand to supply area that broke through that external low. It's got enough juice to give us a reasonable back down. So happy to buy up to that point. In terms of the areas we can buy from, we've got a couple of different options here. So we've got retest of this break here, which is also actually a 5 minute two leg. So first option is we can get the inducement of that into the mitigation of this area, which is a supply to demand, to then look to buy from there. The other option as well is we can wait, and I don't think it's going to get there right now. But if it were to come down and induce that low, that's also a good option. So either buying pretty well straight off the take here or the take of that low are our two options. If we do come up and mitigate this point, I won't be looking to sell on the 1 minute straight from there. It's too against momentum, and too much of like a higher time frame point. For me to sell out of here, I'd need at least a 5 minute bearish range to be able to work in, and then obviously can take it from there. So we'll see how that shapes up. But yeah, buying from those two lows is the option right now for AU if we can get it early enough into the session. EU is pretty all the same. EU obviously really, really bullish, coming from a good area. Like we knew yesterday, our structure cycle here was just pristine. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's played out exactly how we spoke about yesterday and on the outlook call at the end of the week, last week. So had that reaction now, pushed to the upside, clearly got really strong bullish momentum. Would like to just continue buying through. So we are reacting out of this point now. We can target that external point up there. This point really shouldn't hold against this momentum, and we're starting to see that consolidation here now. And we've already more or less had the trap of sellers out of here and are confirming it as a smart money trap. So we did have this break to the downside. We've now broken back up, retested, taken retest, and now we're starting to form more liquidity running across the top up here. So couple of options we can look at coming into the session pretty well sits the same as AU in the sense that if we can come down, induce more sellers from here, we can look to buy pretty well out of the mitigation of this area here, even using that whole area there as more or less that point did create a bit of a run to break through the high. The other option, if we don't use this whole mitigation area to buy from, we can just induce that low and push up from there. So yeah, pretty much the same options. Won't be looking to sell it. Not going to be looking to sell off the take of this high. We're just too against momentum. It's too irrelevant to current price action to use it as an area we can sell from. And if we do push through, we've had such a strong manipulation of sellers here. It'll be way too strong of a confirmation of buyers in control to try and go against that. So definitely want to avoid that. Keep following with the momentum that we've got and take it from there.
Okie dokie. GU, basically the same scenario as what EU's given us. So we obviously had that major inducement, we then had a medium inducement, and now we've come into this demand spot over here, more or less the entire break, however you treat it. But this is a valid demand, as you can see by the reaction. Now we've just pushed to the upside. This point necessarily doesn't have any liquidity around it or leading into it, which is why we've taken it. And I believe we're just bullish. I don't really want to sell off the take of this high. Personally, I don't think it holds enough value. If we do get, like a 5 minute entry model play out at least and don't come into an area of mitigation, I'm more happy to look at it. But given that this range is so close together and the invalidation would be this point, I'm not really interested. So more or less, I just want this to retest this break, bring in some sellers here, and then look to just buy out of the mitigation. Now, this mitigation I think is valid given that it is a supply to demand. But I'm also open to the take of this area too, giving a medium inducement, taking that point. So I'm happy to look at that or that coming into the session. We do have some news, like an hour at the end of the hour. So I'm not banking on this probably setting up nicely anyway. But given where we are, I just want to continue with that buying momentum. As you can see, clear bullish momentum. If we do more or less break and push through this point and then get some retest and push, I'm actually happy to use that seller's range, at least coming down to this buyer's area here. So we've got some ranges to work with both ways. Um, like I said, I just don't want to sell inside this range because my validation is just so close to where I am, and I am not banking on this being a smart money trap. There's just no chance. So we'll have to see what it does in the lower time frame, but I would more or less say we get a continuation of that bullish momentum and just continue buying up realistically in our external leg and creating that new external leg there. So quite simple approach today. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Sweet guys, we'll jump in live as well. Today it might be a pretty quick one, obviously with news, but we'll jump in and have a bit of a squiz.
Sweet.
Sweet, see you in there.
Catches.